Hey, welcome everybody. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hey, welcome. I'm sorry, I thought I was on mute. Welcome everybody to MLB and WNBA DFS pre-lock live for Sunday. Now it's afternoon. Well, it's afternoon where I am, 12 p.m. Walter is in the state of Washington. So it's still early in the morning. He's still having his first coffee. But right here, it's hit noon time. We have two sports going today. Both locking at 1 p.m. MLB, which we do every day, and Walt's coming on for a special WNBA preview when I get done here. So I'm going to run probably for like 20 minutes or so, and then Walter's going to jump on. So we give you guys a few minutes to edit your lineups before lock. But quickly, yourfielderschoice.com, $35 a month the first 6 months. All sports are included. So anybody new that's watching, definitely check us out. Small sports are niche sports. We totally crushed, especially prize picks. So our guys, if you look at our winning room, everyone is crushing prize picks right now. So we'll give you some prize picks at the end of the show today for both sports. But we're doing everything: Korean baseball, WNBA, Aussie football, and then the big sports like MLB. I know our guys are hitting hockey. I'm seeing that in the winning room, and NBA. So if the sport is being played on FanDuel or DraftKings, we hit it, and even tennis. So no need to babble here, as we got two sports going. So let's get right into baseball right now. And weather, I don't see any major weather issues at all right now. I just did a quick check before I went on. The Yankees, we got some winds blowing out 15 miles an hour. Actually, good hitting weather in that game. Boston, Philadelphia, winds blowing in. Probably still decent hitting weather because of the temperature. So, yeah, we're hitting game. Kansas City, got some showers. The Kansas City game, Detroit, I wouldn't worry about that. May see a delay, but it should be safe. And that's it for regular slate. So let's get right into pitching, because pitching has gone up and down all morning. When I started my top plays article this morning, I was on two pitchers. I mean, first of all, get out of the way. There's no elite pitchers today. There's no one here that we feel like we have to play. There's no Garrett Cole going. There's no Jacob deGrom. We got some decent arms, but nobody's is totally running away with it. So when I started this morning, I was pretty much on Castillo and Max Fried. Still on them, and actually our cheat sheet has just been updated a couple minutes ago. So if you guys are members, follow along with that. If you're not members, you're missing out, because the cheat sheet is by far the best in business. There's no one even comes close to this. It's got every stat on there, plus ownership and so on. So but looking at cheat sheet right now, Castillo is still the highest owned, close to 40%. And that's what I was on earlier this morning. I mean, I'm still on him, but there's a couple other pitchers I'm looking at. So first, Castillo, he's cheap. We know him. He's always been an elite arm. He's had a lot of issues this year, but I still think he's in a good spot today. He's going up against Milwaukee. A Milwaukee lineup, they're striking out 26.4% of righties, and they're in second worst in the league in batting average, OPS, WOBA, and WRC+. And the big thing with Castillo, his BABIP is 3.391, which actually makes him a very, very, very unlucky pitcher. So Castillo's in play, mainly because of name value and the price against a weak hitting Milwaukee team. The other main player is Max Fried. I'm a little bit weary of him, though. If you go back and look at his, since he came back from the IL, he's been pitching much better. He's only allowed 3 runs in 17 innings while striking out 18. His problem, though, is he can have some control issues, but he's facing Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh is a free swinging team. So, but that is my biggest concern with Max Fried. His 8,600 is probably appropriately priced. I said Pittsburgh can't hit. So most of the day I was on Fried and Castillo as my two main pitchers. Now, though, since lineups have come out and looking at our projected ownerships, some have changed. Fried has dropped down like 23%. So there's 4 pitchers actually above him now. You got Castillo looking at about 38%. Freddie Peralta from Milwaukee, 24.9. To me, he's more of a GPP play. Zach Wheeler and Patrick Corbin. I don't mess with Patrick Corbin right now until he needs to show me more. He just hasn't pitched that well. But Zach Wheeler, wasn't on him because of his price. He's 11.2 until you go and look at the lineup that Boston has set out today. And Boston pretty much has a watered down lineup. They're missing JD Martinez. They're missing Bogarts. So we have Kiki Bet leading off, Santana second, Vasquez cleanup, Renfroe batting fifth. So they're two big bats rather than lineup. Still a potent lineup, but Zach Wheeler's a good pitcher. He's been absolutely fantastic this year. 2.52 ERA in 60 innings, striked out 66. All his numbers add up. It's a tough matchup, but missing JD and Bogarts, I think right now is pushing him for me as a top pitching play of the day. And you may see his ownership jump up a little bit more. He's right now third in ownership behind Peralta and Castillo. You can still go either of those guys. I even believe you can go with Fried. I don't think a pitcher is going to win a slate today. I don't think a pitcher is going to lose a slate for you today unless you get some guy that's -8 or 9, which Castillo has done before. But one other pitcher I'm looking at. I know people are looking at Chris Bubik against Detroit. For Kansas City, though, Detroit is, coming alive a little bit. But there's another pitcher I'm interested in, and that is Cody Poteet for Miami. He's looking at 12% ownership for us as a punt play, but he's only he's 5-1 on DraftKings. Now, my interest in Poteet is, first of all, he's actually been good. He's pitched 2 games. He made his debut against the Diamondbacks. He threw 6 innings, give up no runs. I just had it pulled up here. Against Arizona, he threw 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, but also had 6 strikeouts. Actually had a really decent game. He had like 20-something DK points. Then he pitched against Philadelphia, no earned runs, only gave up 3 hits, 3 Ks, and 5 innings. So if you look at it, he's pitched 2 games this year, only 5.1 K. He had almost 21 DK points and 15 DK points. Now he's going against his Mets lineup that is like a AA lineup. Once you get past Dominic Smith, who's having a terrible year cleanup, you got Cameron Maybin, who should be out of baseball. We played him like 2015 DFS. Jones Street Vargas, Brandon Drury batting 7th, and Khalil Lee bat 8th. And then you got the Mets pitcher batting 9th, Yamamoto. I think Cody Poteet is in a nice, sneaky spot today at 5.1. Am I saying go out and play him in all your cash games? No. But I am gonna be playing him. I may be playing him in majority of my lineups. I just think it's a sneaky play. At the end of the day, though, I would go with the chalky plays in cash, Castillo at 38%, and then you can take a pick of Zach Wheeler, who I think his ownership is going to keep rising against his watered down Red Sox lineup, or Max Fried. So that's pitching. We're going to keep moving on here quickly so we can get to WNBA. If you guys have any questions about pitching, throw them in there. Don asked, Casey Mize, GBP. Yeah, I mean, actually, Casey Mize has been pitching pretty well in his last couple games. Kansas City doesn't really scare me. I don't mind going Mize, actually. His last game, he almost had 30 DK points against Seattle. He had 7 Ks. Before that, though, he had 18 DK against the same Royal team. So actually, he played the same Royal team 2 weeks ago. Got the win out of it. Gave up 3 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So he didn't go that deep into the game, but got the win. So Kansas City has seen him 2 weeks ago. Another guy I have some interest in also, because now the roof is closed in Texas, is I don't mind Javier today for Houston. He's actually been pitching pretty well. Now he's using that 3rd pitch. He's got a good matchup against the Rangers, who are struggling. There's a couple decent bats in there, but they're still struggling as a team. Javier, to me, is a GPP play. Another play is Ryu for Toronto, even though it's in Dunedin. Ryu has been really good this year. He actually played Tampa the last game, and he went out in an injury, even though he was actually pitching well in that Dunedin game. But still, to me, Ryu was more of a GPP play. I'm surprised. I thought his ownership would actually be higher in projections, and they're not. They're only 11%. So for Don Day's question, yeah, Mize is a GPP play. I think it's a decent play, but I'm not throwing him in cash. All right, so going around the bases, going foul with our projections at catcher. Nobody, once again, it's catcher. I'm not going to pay up today. There's really nobody to pay up. I'm assuming the Yankees lineup is now out, right? And Sanchez is batting 6th. It's kind of a hot bat with a positive platoon against Dallas Crucial. But to me, GPP, boom or bust. In the Dunedin game, we had a nice call yesterday. We call it a Zanino home run. Zanino isn't playing today. You got Francisco Mejia at 3K. I think you can play Mejia against Ryu, actually. He's a switch hitter in Dunedin. It's kind of like a Coors game. I don't mind Mejia at 3K. Anybody else? We got Omar Narvaez, 3.5. I could see playing Narvaez. Actually, Narvaez is batting second today. If you're not playing Castillo, gets the positive platoon. He's in there. My other play is Jacob Stallings, who's actually been crushing lefties. If you're not playing Max Fried, he's hitting 260. He's got 4 homers on the year, but more importantly, he's got 407 ISO, 411 WOBA against lefties. So he's actually totally crushing lefties right now. Not a bad play. Andrew Knapp is sitting there at 2K as your punt. Yeah, I guess he's in play at 2K. And the Jays got Danny Jansen, no Reese McGuire, so you can use Danny Jansen too. He's under 3K. So overall, I like Jacob Stallings. The chalky play looks like it's going to be actually nobody chalky. We're looking at actually Stallings is our top ownership right now at 9%. All right, so that's catcher. I'm not going to Haas GBP. Yeah, you have Stallings down as GBP. I have Stallings as a cash actually too. Haas GBP up just because of his price, especially if you're not going to use a guy like Bubik. First base, and now we get around to the real positions. First base, right now, Josh Bell is carrying most ownership at 22%. You can see Josh Bell in a lot of cash games, and he's in a good spot. We're going against Matt Harvey, and Harvey's not the gas can he was last year, but he's still being hit. He's in the third spot. I have Bell in a lot of my Colorado, Washington stacks. I probably stack in Washington more than anybody today. So Josh Bell is your top cashy popular play at first. Other plays I do like actually probably more. I love Vlad. If I had the money, I'm going to Vlad today. This is probably his last game in Dunedin. 6 of his last games, double-digit fantasy points. He's crushing the ball. 354 ISO, 475 WOBA against righties. That's a bullpen game. Walker Fleming for Tampa. If you have the money, you go to Vlad. Trey Mancini's crushing the ball also. Just as probably well as Vlad. 361 ISO, 449 WOBA against lefties. Patrick Corbin was a gas can. If you have the money, especially DPs, load up on Mancini. Rice Hoskins in a good spot because he's going against Erod, and you play Rice Hoskins against lefties, not righties. He just can't seem to hit righties this year. And where is Hoskins in the order today? Hoskins is batting cleanup today. Good spot for Hoskins. Anybody else cheap? Ryan Mountcastle, I have down. Mountcastle has dropped to 7th, though. He had the grand slam yesterday. He's a streaky hitter, though. Gets a positive platoon against Corbin. I like Mountcastle at 3-2. Probably more of a GPP play. And also throw in Nate Lowe there at 3-6. So then Josh Bell is your chalky play. Danny Santana, I just mentioned. I did not play Santana yesterday. If I knew he was going to be 66% owned, I probably would have ran it. I didn't. Now you got Santana batting second against Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is a little bit more of a difficult matchup for Santana, but he's also a streaky hitter. He always was in the major leagues. So, yeah, he's in play, but to me, he's more of a GPP play. But at 2.25, yeah, you can definitely run him out there. All right, so that's first base, Josh Bell. Second base, another position where we got probably guys all over the place. One guy I'm definitely interested in who just popped up for Cleveland at dirt minimum, batting 6th, is Owen Miller at 2K. He actually may end up making my main lineup at 2K, going against J.A. Happ, who's a gas can. Miller's got the positive platoon, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about him. All I know is he's batting 6th with a positive split. I may end up going there at 2K. Our ownership right now on our cheat sheet is showing us a bunch of guys together. DJ for the Yankees, Marcus Semien for Toronto. Yeah, if you have the money for Semien, you definitely take him. Crushing Luis Arias. If I'm going to go up, I'm going to probably playing Jazz Chisholm for Miami. Jazz is my favorite play. Should be leading off today against a shit Met team. He's got that power speed combination. I love this play, especially at only 4-4 today. I'm going to pay up. Of course, it's going to be Marcus Semien. I'm looking quick at. I'm trying to see. I don't have FanDuel in front of me, but Semien is usually cheaper on FanDuel. I see on FanDuel today, Starling Castro is second baser eligible at 2-4. If you're playing FanDuel, I would just lock in Starling Castro at 2-4. He'll be at third base on DK. Anybody else you want to look at DK as cheaper? Beside Owen Miller, Jonathan Scope is 3-2 for Detroit. Decent matchup against Bubik. And one of my favorite plays today is Josh Harrison for Washington. I think he dropped in the order, though. Where is he in the order? Why can't I find Washington? Josh Harrison's batting sixth. He had the Grand Slam yesterday. He's 6 for 14 lifetime against Matt Harvey. So he sees Matt Harvey well. It's a reverse split, but he had the bomb yesterday. I don't have no problem running Harrison out there at 3.6. Okay, so that is our second baseman. So look, going back at it, to me, the top play is punt Owen Miller. If not, you go up to Marcus Semien or Jazz in the middle. Semien is just unstoppable right now hitting. On one other name, and I probably should have mentioned, though, is I just think he's expensive today, is Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve, totally crushing the ball. Probably the hottest hitter in baseball. Going against Poteet. Altuve definitely in play. He may not see the ownership today because why am I not seeing him on the cheat sheet? Is the Astros lineup out? Yeah, he's leading off. So I don't see Altuve unless he's never mind. I'm sorry. He's now at 7%. Altuve's hot. He's just expensive. So GBPs, if you're stacking the Astros, definitely run out Altuve as part of your stack. You need him there. Okay, going to third base. Third base is the same way as second base. You got a bunch of guys all bunched together on DK. Jonathan Villar, DJ LeMahieu, Bregman, J-Ram, they're all together. FanDuel, Bregman is 30%. He's cheaper on FanDuel. On FanDuel, I would think you can run Bregman at 3.5. My favorite, I do like Bregman. My favorite, though, I think is J-Ram. He's just having such a good year. He's been that ultimate power speed. Great matchup against a struggling lefty, J. Happ, who's just totally lost it this year. And J-Ram hasn't hit a home run in 3 games. He's due for a home run. You definitely play Bregman, though. I just saw a stat where Houston definitely is, I think, hits fastballs better than any team in the major leagues. That's what Bolte throws. Bregman's in play also. I like Starling Castro at 3.9. I played him yesterday. He just seems like a steady play. He gets you 1 or 2 hits. He's not going to get you 30 DK points. But at 3.9, he's in play. Kevin Gutierrez as a punt at 2.3 for Kansas City. You need a punt. He's there. Who else we got? And Jonathan Villar for the Mets should be leading off. He's actually the only guy right now for the Mets that's actually hitting the ball. He's the only one that's worrying me right now for Cody Poteet is Villar leading off. He's still only 3.5. So I'm using Poteet in some GBPs, but if not, I have no problem using Jonathan Villar there. Anybody else? Brian Anderson. He's actually on a 7-game hitting streak. It hits in 8 of his last 10. I think he's in play. In one of those sneaky plays, Jake Lamb batting second today. He's got hits in 3 of his last 4, including a home run. So Jake Lamb is back in baseball. We've actually won some money with him in the last couple of weeks, batting second today for the White Sox. I think really you need Bregman or GPP. Bregman or J-Ram in your main lineup. Bregman or Ramirez GPP, to me, is J-Ram. J-Ram just one of those guys, streaky. I just love the way J-Ram is playing. Another question, Harrison, Brousseau, GPP, Harrison. Just the way Harrison hits Matt Harvey. All right, shortstop, looking at projections, Trey should be the popular play at short. And he is, especially on FanDuel, he's going to be looking at 32% ownership. DK, 22% ownership. Trey's the popular play. I love Bo Bichette today. Maybe, I don't know if it's because it's the last game they're playing in Dunedin, but Bichette is in an awesome spot against this Tampa bullpen game with Michael Wacha, who's done, and Fleming. Bichette's looking at 13%. Castro, Turner's going to be the popular play. And the problem is if Turner goes off and you don't have him, I've been there, you're kind of screwed. I like Ahmad Rosario for Cleveland at 3.6. Definitely. I just threw some stats of his up. He's 5 for 19 lifetime off of Hap. He's always crushed lefties. 298 career batting average. Rosario would be the play if you want to drop from Trey or Bo. Swanson is still hot, still hitting. And Glaber is finally hitting. He's hit 344 his last 16 games, finally finding the stroke, 2 homers, 4 stolen bases, 14 ribbies. It's the negative platoon, but still I think he's in a decent spot. But to me, though, in cash, you almost have to run Trey. He's going to be so high owned. But GVP, I'm definitely going to pivot right back to Bo on my main GVP. One other name is Freddie Galvis, who's been crushing. Hits in 3 of his last 4. 2 homers, 4 ribbies against lefties, facing Corbin today. So Galvis is in play also. Once again, trade your cash play, but was your pivot for GPPs. All right. I know I'm talking fast, but we got to get through this WNBA. Outfield, Juan Soto, I think, is your top play today. And our projections actually show it. We're showing Juan at almost 40% owned on FanDuel, 30% owned on DK. He's your chalky play, but Acuna is probably hitting better. If you're playing cash, you probably have to run Juan in case he does go off against Harvey. But looking at, Acuna is just his slash right now, 281, 383, 634 slash, elite. 15 homers, 6 steals. Great matchup against Brubaker. If you don't want to go Juan Soto, you go Acuna, but you probably have the money for Soto, there's probably no value there. Soto's your top play. I love these Astros going against Poteet today, so I want to try to get Jordan Alvarez in my lineup. Poteet struggles against left-handed bats. Alvarez is a top play. To me, that's my bomb call of the day. I think if anybody hits one, it's going to be Jordan Alvarez. If I can get Soto and Alvarez in my main lineup, I'm happy. A couple other plays. You got Tio Hernandez, clean up in Dunedin. Tio was just having a career year so far, especially since he came off the IL. Batting cleanup, batting after Vlad. Kyle Schwarber's in a good spot today against Harvey. Andrew McCutchen has always hit Erod, hitting lefties really well this year. He's leading off today for Philly. 304, 361, 473 slat. No, that was TL. 351 ISO against left-handers. That's McCutchen. So at 4K, McCutchen's going to be a good play and a sneaky play. Probably be under 5% owned. Alvarez isn't in the lineup. If he's not in the lineup, I apologize. Alvarez isn't in the lineup. Brantley's batting cleanup today. All right, I apologize. I'm glad. Thank you for that comment. So Alvarez is not my bomb call of the day. It's going to have to go to Juan Soto. So Brantley's sitting cleanup against Fulte. Fulte throws a fastball, which Astros can destroy. Brantley's at the 5K on DK. Brantley's definitely in play though, 5K. Batting after Bregman in front of Yuli, who's just as hot. So I guess you can put Brantley there in front of Alvarez instead of Alvarez. Also a good spot. Kyle Tucker is batting 6th. He's been so unlucky this year, but he's been playing much better, hitting better. He's getting his hits on there now. You're going to play Tucker. A couple of value plays I like. Anthony Santander, another streaky hitter. He's getting hot. Now he's 4th rate with a home run since he came off the IL. Corbin gets hit hard from the right side of the plate. Santander, switch hitter, good price, and his price is going to be rising. He's not going to stay at the price it is now. Right now, Santander is only 3-1 batting cleanup against Corbin. I love that Santander call. Then you have the Rangers, even though I kind of like Javier, but you can't dispute Willie Calhoun. He's still sitting at 3-2, even though the roof is closed in Texas, kind of downgrades hitting a little bit. But Calhoun's got 2 homers and 6 at-bats against Javier. He also hits righties much better than he hits lefties. He actually hits much better hitting at home than he does on the road. Calhoun's in play, and then we all know about Adolis Garcia. He smashed it even with reverse splits, 337 ISO, 414 WOBA, 3 homers over his last 2 games. So Garcia bank cleanups in play against Javier. Probably it for value, Santander, Calhoun, and Garcia. They're my top 3 values. I love Benintendi also. You just mentioned Don Day. Benintendi, I should actually put him on my top plays. He's my top Royal actually today, going against Mize. All right, so that's pretty much it for my MLB. So just going around quickly is for the Cashy Plays. Josh Bell is going to be popular at first base. Bunch of guys at second. Shortstop Turner's going to be popular. Soto is going to be the most popular in the outfield. They're probably your three cores for cash. Like I said, FanDuel, I love Rosario at only 2-1 at shortstop. Castro 2-4 at second. Now it's going to allow you to get some big bats like a Soto, maybe even Acuna. And let's look at prize picks real quick, and then we'll move on to WNBA. My top prize picks for MLB. I have Jose Altuve over 1.5 total bases. That means he just needs to get on. He needs to get on base one way or another over 1.5. Trey Mancini over 6.5 fantasy points. And then I have Vlad over 6.5 fantasy points. Prize picks. Sign up code now is YFC. And we are crushing. If you look at our winners board on YFC, everybody's crushing every sport on prize picks. That's the way to go right now. All right, that's it. It's 12:30. I'm going to move on over to Walt Riddell for WNBA. Thanks, guys. Good luck today. Walt, it's all yours.
All right. Let's go, guys. Thank you very much, Pete. Great job with MLB, as always. I'm going to try to keep this to like 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to do very, very quick. Lock is in 30 minutes, so let's go. Lots of housekeeping to do as far as news is going on. We'll start with the Liberty game here versus Chicago Sky. They're plus 205, 163.5 total. Natasha Howard was activated. It is confirmed now that she will play. You guys that are premium members know I listed 2 cores if Howard was going to be in and if she's going to be out. So obviously go with the core of Howard being in. She's only 7.9K on DraftKings. She's a must play. It's already been announced that she's going to start. We haven't got the starting lineups out for the teams yet, but it is confirmed that she will be starting. This is obviously going to help the front court of the Liberty a whole hell of a lot. They've been getting smoked down low, so she's going to help their defense. For the Sky, Candace Parker has been ruled out. That's a big deal for the Sky. Ruthie Hebard's expected to start again. Whenever Hebard in the past has been a spot starter for injuries, and even just recently in the last game when she put up over 30 fantasy points, she's been a big-time scorer. So Hebard is up to 8-4 in play. Howard back does definitely, make me less excited about it, but Howard's a little bit rusty. She's had a week or two off from Euro play, and both Hebard and Astu Endu are taller than her. So there could be, a little bit of a discrepancy there. So I'm not fully off the bigs versus Liberty just yet. So Hebard's certainly in play. Zora Stevens is probable. She's been injured since, last summer. She's on a minutes cap, though. It sounds like she'll play up to 15 minutes, so I wouldn't expect her to be much of a value play at all for us. She is in a low 7K range, so if she had full minutes, she'd be a very good play. But we're going to take a wait-and-see approach with her. As far as everyone else in this game, Betnajaya Liney at 9.7 is a great play. She hasn't scored under 20 actual points in all season. Prize picks, we'll get to that in a second. She continues to be 17, 18 there is their projection. She keeps hitting the over, so it's been a cash cow for us. I do like Laney at that sub 10K price as opposed to Ionescu. It's a very short sample, only 4 games, but it seems the Liberty get pretty rattled on the road thus far. It's been 2 games, keep that in mind. And at home, they smashed. They will have Howard, so it's a new look for them. So the road game might be fine, but I am personally fading Sabrina today, especially if she ends up being somewhat chalky. She's 11K. It's very restrictive. I don't want to have to play a bunch of values today because the mid-range is chock full of good plays, like Howard. So really, it's Natasha Howard and Bet Laney as the Liberty cash plays for me. And then Ionescu, and that's pretty much it for GVP. Could look at Kylie Shook, Rebecca Allen. With Howard back, they're going to see a lot less usage. However, Coach Walt Hopkins has said that he's going to run some big lineups out there with Shook and Howard together to try to compete with some of the Chicago Sky size. For the Sky, they are activating their rookie Shyla Heal. She's only 3-1, so it sounds like she's going to play. Probably won't play more than 15-ish minutes, but at min price, if you want to stack all the studs up, she allows you to do that at just 3-1. This is one of the few slates where forward's actually more valuable today than the guard spots. This is the first slate all season. Typically, we want to load up on 3 guards where we can. I'm actually okay with going 4 forwards today if you can make it work. So Heal at 3-1, definitely in play. I'm back on Diamond Shields. I don't expect her to be very highly owned. She's been kind of, middling. People are definitely weary of using her because she's been injured and a little bit rusty, but she's only 7.6 on DraftKings. There is a blow-up game coming. I've been, using her slate after slate after slate. So if I jump off now and she goes off, I will certainly be jumping off a cliff. So I'm going to be sticking with Diamond Shields. And like I said, I don't expect her to be too heavily owned, although there is one other site right now kind of pumping her a bit. So maybe she'll be higher owned than I think. Courtney Vandersloot is fine, over 10K. Her scoring, with Parker out, she may score a little bit today. But at full strength, this team's really not going to ask her to score. It's going to be more of a distributor. She can put up damn near 20 assists a game at times. So she will still get her points from assist. But I feel like her ceiling is kind of a 30, 35. And if you're going to pay that 10K plus price, you really would like to see that be more like 40 to 45. So I'm going to probably be fading her. I do like Kalia Copper again, GPP play at almost 9K. She's been a big-time scorer, averaging over 20 points. She kind of took over last year when DeShields went down with an injury, but they've been playing together. With Allie Quigley still out as well for this guy, you can expect DeShields and Copper to both play together over 30 minutes and take a ton of shots. So Copper is a nice sneaky GPP play that is capable of putting up 40 because she is a multi-cat contributor in terms of assists, rebounds, blocks, steals, all that good stuff. So we're going to get the Sky starting lineup here shortly. As long as Ruthie's starting at the 8-4, like I said, I believe that we can use her and feel pretty decent about it. I'll keep an eye on that as it goes. So the New York starting 5 has dropped before I move to the next game. Bet Laney, Natasha Howard, as expected, Sammy Whitcomb, Sabrina, and Michaela Onyenwere. So that moves Kylie Shook to the bench. So not quite as good as play as you would expect there, with her price being over 6K now. For the Mystics versus Fever, another good game to target for DFS purposes. Mystics are actually minus 135 favorites. The Fever are still looking for their first win. I don't think they're going to get a win. With the current lineup that they have and roster, they're going to need to make some trades. They're very flush with front court players, and I could honestly see them offering this season if they sit back and do nothing. So I could potentially see them, make a move with the Sparks or somebody like that here. And because the season, is a lot less games than, let's say, the NBA, we could see trades and other moves here a lot faster. So keep that in mind. The Fever may start auditioning other players, to kind of make them, trade available. As far as the Mystics, they're getting back Maisha Heinz-Allen, big-time scorer from last year. She averaged 11 and 9, but the last month of the season, she was putting up 40 to 50-point bombs and melting the slate. So this is definitely a player I want to run on both sides. She's 9-9 on DraftKings. She's going to be in the starting lineup. Definitely going to hurt Tina Charles a little bit, whose price has now climbed up to almost 11K. Charles still has that big 40-50 upside, but with MHA there and a usage rate over 30% the last month of the season in 2020, we could see Charles's offense kind of hurt a little bit. So I am going to be fading her for MHA just so I can get that discount. It sounds like Della Donne is going to be hurt for a couple more games. It's sad because she's the most dominant player in the W besides Stewie, right? But the injuries that are lingering, we may never see a full-strength EDD ever again. So that's pretty sad. But yeah, she's going to miss today, it sounds like. Erica McCall, who has really, she broke in the starting lineup. She's been averaging over 20 fantasy points. Probably need to cool it on her. Her price is now over 6K. I doubt she'll start. She's averaging 8 and 9, but again, MHA is back. So expect McCall to, see less minutes, less usage. It is a revenge game against her former team in Indiana. We have been seeing revenge game Ham all, in the short season here, a week or two. WNBA, for whatever reason, when a player plays their old team, they're showing out. So especially in the W. So keep that in mind. As far as the guards go, Ariel Atkins has the highest ceiling of all the guards. Natasha Cloud, the highest floor. Leilani Mitchell, high minutes, but Mitchell's kind of floor is below 10. So really won't be finding me using her. Atkins is a great GPP play. And if you just want a safe option at 8-2 in Cloud, high assist rate, fairly decent usage rate. She's become the leader of this team, initiates the offense, one of the flagship defenders on the perimeter for her. I don't mind it. I don't think I'll be using her, but she is a very safe play for 24 fantasy points, so you could do worse. Teresa Placence went to the bench for McCall last game, still playing roughly 17 to 20 minutes. Been doing well, averaging almost, 17 and a half fantasy points, but the party stops for her now with MHA back. MHA is going to have to play 30 minutes right away, I would imagine. So these, secondary players like McCall, Placence, are just going to be downgrades. So MHA, top play. Tina Charles is still, borderline cash at 10.6 if you can afford it. And then Ariel Atkins, top GP play at 85. For the Fever, they did start Jessica Breland last game, 6.8K. It was a revenge game for her. She had a big-time double-double, 16 points, or 15 points, 16 rebounds. So she's only 6'8". Assuming she starts here, which I'll check in a second, she's still very much in play. They're going to need their size. With MHA back, the Mystics are a little bit taller with Charles as well. The bad thing about the front court for the Fever is they have 4. It sounds like Lauren Cox is available today, so now they have 5. And they've been playing them all 20 minutes. Tiara McCowan, who was up over 10K, her minutes are trending down. She's playing back to the low 20s again, which is what happened to her last year. And then Jontel Lavender, who they brought in, started the season hot. Now she's only playing about 15 to 16 minutes. So Breland, if starting at 6'8", the top play for Indiana. And then I'm a big fan of the Bernadette Hedar. She's 6'10", second tallest player in WNBA history. I've been kind of hyping her the last few games that she's been on. She has scored right around 17.5 to 18 fantasy points while playing 20 minutes. So she's solid at 5'4" still. However, with Cox back in the mix, I definitely want to jump off that situation and see how the minutes shake out. This is what I mean about the Fever being, so forward heavy. They're going to have to make a trade of some sort and get some good guards in there. Kelsey Mitchell at 8K. I'm not a big fan of the Fever guards at all without Julie Alleman this year, but at 8K, she does offer a huge scoring upside, 30, 40 fantasy points. So she's definitely a good GPP play at the 8K when she's been hovering around 9K in total. So definitely the 2 games you want to target, Liberty Sky and the Fever Mystics. There should be a lot of good fantasy points scored here, while the last game we're going to talk about is the Aces and Connecticut. Okay, so Lauren Cox. So, oh, wow. Okay, so big news just came out for the Fever as well. Jontel Lavender is out. So that's a big deal, right? That's going to take 20 minutes-ish that she was getting and throw that at Cox, Hatar, and Jessica Breland. So now I really like Breland. Starting lineup has come out for them. It's D-Rob, Kelsey Mitchell, Tiffany Mitchell starting over Vivian's again, Tiara McCowan, and Jessica Breland. So yes, play Jessica Breland. She's starting. There's no Lavender. That's a big deal. As far as the Chicago Skies lineup goes, it's Courtney Vandersloot, Kalia Copper, Diamond DeShields, Ruthie Hebert, and Stu Endu. So same starting lineup they used last game without Candace Parker. But yeah, this is like a CBB slate right here. There's so much news dropping. So that's a good thing. So I'm on Breland. Real quick, give you the Sun Vegas breakdown. DeWanna Bonner, we figured it out early, right? If she's in a game that looks like it could potentially be a blowout, which is tough to predict. I mean, you couldn't really have predicted they would blow out the Mercury like they did. But Bonner in a close game like this projected, looks like she's going to be chalk. She's always a good play. She'll play that 36, 37 minutes, which is fantastic for the 10-1 price. In blowouts, they bench her when they can, play her in the mid-20s to save her legs for better games. So assuming this will be a close game, as it should, unless they get blown out by the Aces, which is totally possible, I would be on Bonner. She looks like on RG, she is going to be their top core play / chalk. So you can go that route if you want. I'm kind of leaning the other way on her. I do like Natisha Heidemann still with Brianne January out at 7-8. Heidemann's been playing 30 minutes the last 4 games, 3 spot starts, and has been averaging almost 30 fantasy points. So a big time scorer. And then Jong Jones at 10-8. She's got 3 double-doubles this season already. And they're big double-doubles, 16 rebound type of double-doubles. So she's a big-time play. But the Aces are potentially going to be that team that you don't want to target against unless your name is Brianna Stewart. They've been shutting down the opposing teams quite well. The first game against the Storm, they got beat. Second game against the Storm, they did a very nice job limiting, what they did, especially with Stewart. And then the game against the Sparks, of course, they just obliterated them. So that Cambridge, Asia Wilson, Hamby front court defensive trio that they have is extremely stout. So I'm personally not looking to stack the Sun, but you could definitely run Bonner in your main or Jonk Jones in GPP, especially if Jones is going to be low owned. If she's like under 15% or something like that with 50-point upside, you could definitely run her. I will say Jonk has had issues historically against teams with strong front courts. It is a new year, but she's been in the league a couple of seasons, whatever. But that's something that she struggled with, so keep that in mind. Right now, I gotta say, my Storm, they're escaping. They came back and beat the Lynx the other night. Last night, the young gunner Wings pushed them to overtime. They're a great team, but I gotta say the Aces are the best team in the W right now. Asia Wilson is looking like a league MVP again. Chelsea Gray, who they added in the offseason, is playing extremely well. You saw in the last game against the Sparks, a revenge game. She exploded for 35+ fantasy points. And former #1 pick, Jackie Young, is starting to come into her own. I would say Asia, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young are all viable for your main lineup / cash games. With Kelsey Plum over there doing the Olympic qualifying. They won their regional tournament, by the way, so USA advances. And Angel McCall with the injury. So, Jackie's going to play big minutes. Gray's going to play big minutes. If the Sun keep this close, which they should on paper, we'll see, a lot of those guys on the court for 35-ish minutes. Liz Cambridge's price is nice. at 9.2. She is on a cap. It appears it's supposed to be 25, but she hasn't really gotten close to that. It's been hovering about 20 to 21. So I think for GPPs, you could definitely roll her out there because 9.2 is a cheap price for a player who really historically has been a 10K plus player. So I don't mind it. Dearica Hamby have flashed her upside against the Sparks. She played 25 minutes last game, put up almost 40 fantasy points. She's very up and down, but the nice thing about Hamby is when she's out there, she's crashing the boards, getting block shots, contributing in all categories. So definitely a big fan of Hamby's, and at just 7.8K, she could be a GPP winning play, certainly. And then Raquana Williams, she's a cheap option. She continues to start. Her floor is about 20. She doesn't really give you anything besides scoring. She will, take a bunch of threes and all that. So she's fine at 6'2" if you need that. But I probably would be like a last option for me. If you're like 6'2", 6'3" for your last spot, totally fine with it. They're really running a 7-player rotation. The Aces I was worried about to start the year because they had a deep rotation, but now out of necessity with an injury to Angel, Kelsey off to the Olympic qualifying, they're really down to 7. Jinsu Park, Destiny Slocum, and Emma Cannon are their 3 other bench players, and you're not going to see them on the floor much at all, except to give Asia a water break for 20 seconds, or if the game gets out of hand, it's a blowout. So you're really looking at a nice, strong 7-player rotation where the Sun are running a nice, strong 7-player rotation. So close game. Everybody's enamored with the other 2 games that are starting here in about 15 minutes because of all the fantasy action. So you could actually see this game have a lot of low-owned options. It's very strong. So I'm happy with that. Let's pull up here. Just checking things. Good to go Sunday. All right, I'm just looking to see if there's any starter news or anything that popped up while we're doing this. Nothing at the moment. So core, for me right now, I'm running Diamond to Shields. I expect, to be one of the only in the industry probably on her in terms of content providers. MHA, so Maisha, Heinz, Allen, and then, of course, not Natasha Howard. That price on Natasha is just too cheap to pass up. Kind of fringe core, and this may give away my lineup, but Asia Wilson, of course, if you can afford her, and then Jessica Breland at 6'8". So you can see where normally we're running the 3 guards. I'm probably running 4 forwards at this point. Prize picks, we've been doing really well. We finished last week on the Friday at 22-6. So we start our new weeks on Saturday with the way I did the prize picks. 1-1 yesterday. It was a showdown slate. What are you going to do? Today I have 3 plays I'm very confident in. Bentley Shia Laney over 17 single points. You guys heard me say she's been scoring over 20. Prize picks continues to give her 17, 18, and 19. She keeps hitting that 20, so I'm going to keep hitting that over. Laney's over 30 fantasy points is juicy too. I do see that you can't run the same player in a multi, pick, so you'll have to do one or the other. Or do 2 separate. My preferred play would be Laney's 17 single points over as opposed to fantasy. And then pair that with Chelsea Gray over 27 fantasy points. The board's a little tough today. Some of the better players like Asia Wilson over 40 is going to be a tough one. Candace Parker's out, but Tiara McCowan like 10.5 points, kind of hard to say. So they've done a good job with the numbers today. But Chelsea Gray over 27. Diamond to Shields, even they just added that one over 26 I'd be fine with, and like I said, Laney over the 17 single points. Those are my preferred plays. There is an under that I like if you're looking to build out, excuse me, and that would be where'd it go? Sorry, Tina Charles. So Tina Charles with the MHA, 35 fantasy points. It's extremely risky because she could still put up 40. I do want to see this adjustment with a high usage player like MHA. So I would say the under on Tina Charles if you're looking to do like a flex 4 pick type of thing. But otherwise, my 2 most confident picks that are going to cash today, Laney over single point 17 and Chelsea Gray over 27 fantasy points. So get over and grab that. We have about 10 minutes left. Head over to the premium Discord for final starting lineups and any other breaking news, but you guys should be up to date. Try to get that done for you fast. Appreciate everybody's support. Thanks to Pete again. Thanks to our producers, Mickey, as always. And take care, guys. Best of luck. We'll be back in a couple of days with another live stream. And then there's a showdown, I believe, tomorrow that I'll have content for and a free show. Good luck. Win lots of money. Feel it.